Ladies and gentlemen, I am so excited for this next guest. Officially, the first professional athlete on Compas on the beat. That officially goes to Chargers running back Austin Ekeler. Austin, how are you? How are you feeling today?
Hey, I'm feeling good, man. Feeling good. Thanks for the intro. Appreciate the honor of being the first professional athlete on your guys' podcast. So looking forward to it.
Yeah, Austin, Fernando has that energy all the time, and you bring the energy just as much too, Austin. But I got to ask you about the off season. I keep checking, your Instagram, your stories. You do a lot of things, besides squatting and bench pressing and lifting. I saw you went to Dubai. How was that like? I saw some
Yeah.
some some desert pictures. How cool was
Yeah,
that?
yeah, yeah. So Dubai, yeah, it was very just interesting as far as like what they've done on the desert. It's incredible as far as the infrastructure and everything they built there. But it was definitely during a time where COVID's still present, so it was pretty empty, right? So just the atmosphere around there it was different. Like I was asking the guy I was with there. He's been there for a year now. He's like, yeah, back before COVID, it was like shoulder to shoulder, which made more sense because I'm like, how could you support all these buildings with like this little of people here. But obviously they built a city on the desert, so a lot of tourism travels through there, and so it's kind of put a hinder on the tourism there. But it was kind of nice for us because we were just free range. We were able to go and pretty much experience everything out there. But yeah, we're riding some camels, got in a hot air balloon over the desert. We're hanging out in the rooftop pools and bars, and then went to the Burj Khalifa, which is the massive building. We're like 158 floors. So it was definitely an experience that was very unique. And I think that's what Dubai's trying to do out there, right? They're trying to create that experience that people want to come and see the city built on the desert, the Mirage, as it's called.
Is it kind of just part of like, hey, you want to explore the world, learn new things, and kind of bring it over to your business aspect and stuff like that?
So for that was based off of basically like business. So I met a guy through the gym. Now he's the vice president of UFC and over in Dubai. And I just had a connection through him. He's like, hey man, you got to come out here. And so I would have even gone to Dubai if it weren't for him. So it was basically just a pure connection. Like I'd like to travel, but I think I would after traveling like that, I would always want to have somewhere I could like stay that's someone's a local just because it just that comfortability. They know, where to go. They can show you around. That was very nice and very convenient. But who knows? I'm still young, so I got a lot of traveling I want to do in my day.
The gym brings people together,
That's right.
and brings business. Austin, you're doing a lot of things with your Twitch. You have a special NFL Draft live stream event featuring 32 players, athletes, influencers representing each NFL team. You're hosting it with ESPN's Jordan Schultz. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah. So Gridiron Gaming Group, kind of the backbone of what Gridiron Gaming Group is just a way for athletes to really bridge the gap through the community. One way we do that is through media. Well, why not make our own media? Is basically what I was saying. And so a lot of people are already on Twitch, and so we have reached out to athletes that are on Twitch. For instance, we have Connor Daly. He's a IndyCar driver. We have Tommy Canley. He's a pitcher for the Dodgers. Alicia Gray. She's a WWA player, and whereas basically I'm trying to help these people that are already in the streaming world or people that are coming into the streaming world really just perfect and take advantage of the opportunity that they have to connect with their community. And so we do that by doing these bigger events. We did one for the Super Bowl. Now we're doing one for the draft. So when you watch the draft, usually it's a like technical analysis of like the players picked and who they think's going to be picked. And so I was like, let's do like a less technical, let's do a little more social play off of the same kind of idea. And so that's exactly what we're going to be doing on Gridiron Gaming Group on my Twitch during the first round. We're going to have, like you said, someone representing every single team. And they're going to come on and just basically talk about what's going on in their life, talk about who they think they should pick, talk about their foundation. It's basically a plug event. They can talk about anything they have going on, and then we'll talk about the pick as well at the end. But for instance, like we have like different players. Like so we have some soccer players like Ali Long. We have Rachel Lindsay, who's a big Cowboys fan. She was a bachelorette. And so we just have a lot of different people in different spaces coming to represent this social event, which makes it a little bit of a different experience. And I'm excited to host it. It's going to be very official. Twitch is on board with it. So it's going to be something that I'm looking forward to trying to do every single year.
Are we doing suit and tie? Are we doing
No, it's casual. It's casual. I'm
Okay,
definitely going casual, right?
Which you mentioned a lot of. I mean, Bachelorette, WNBA players, Team USA soccer, women's soccer. Melvin Gordon, Derek Watt. Who's someone that you're excited to talk to, and maybe you haven't met them or anything. Who's somebody that excites you about the guest lineup that you have?
I think Raheem Mozart. All right. Mozart, I forgot how to say his last name, something like that, Mozart. But I was talking to him when we were, introducing the idea to him, and he reminds me a lot of myself, but he's a little older than me. But just as far as what he has going on, he's also a father, but he has a lot of involvement outside of football. And so I think that's the thing I'm looking forward to most, is just seeing what other people have going on. Tyreek Hill, I'm interested to see what he's going on. Maybe give me some pointers on how to, run as fast as he can. But just seeing what the guys are doing, really. Like, that's what I'm really excited about. Like, sure, like the draft's like the play that we're going off of, but I think the value of the content is going to be able to hear and see what these people have going on besides their big sport and, what they're doing off the field.
Austin, it kind of sounds like you're going to be like this draft expert, analysis kind of guy. Can we get a preview? Who are the Chargers taking at number 13?
See that, bro, I have no idea, man. I've watched zero college football. I've kept up with who we're trying to on the radar. None of that. Who we're bringing in for workouts. I don't even care. What I care about is give me a guy with a good head on his shoulders that's ready to work hard. He's not a hothead and thinks everything's about him. Is ready to come in and work and try to win games for us. That's what I want.
And Austin, you mentioned Raheem. I think he went undrafted and he went to the Super Bowl with the 49ers. So you guys kind of have a similar background with yourself being undrafted as well. But kind of take us back to your draft night. And how was that? Like, were you kind of expecting to get drafted, or you kind of already knew going in that you're going to be undrafted? You're going to have to, work your way up and go through the harder path.
Right. I think coming out of college, I was like hoping to get drafted. I thought it was a long shot. And my agent let me know, it was like, hey, if NFL teams think they can not waste a draft pick on you, then they're going to try to get you in free agency. And it's like, I'm a Division II player from a small school. It's like, there might be a guy from a bigger school that people might snag because of the name on his school. Maybe not necessarily they think he's better than you, but they might think someone else is going to draft him. So they might take him with that like 7th round pick, which is where I thought I was going to go if I was going to get drafted. But now as I'm getting older, looking back, I'm like, I'm actually glad that I was not drafted, because I got to choose and I got to pick kind of my, my path. And I wanted to be on the Chargers or on Green Bay Packers. That's because that was it was probably the best, what I thought was going to be the best opportunity for me to make the team. And then the Chargers called about halfway through the 7th round and like, hey, if he doesn't get picked up in these last few picks, then we'll take him. And boom, then there I was like, yeah, let's do it, man. And from then on, I was like, yeah, I'm becoming a Charger. And then it was going crazy, that was my draft day.
Rocking the guitar, the guitar celebration.
That was before the guitar celebration. Yeah. The guitar celebration came after my first touchdown. Like, I scored my first touchdown, and I was like screaming and just flexing as loud as I could and hard as I could. And I was just like, I got to have something. And then I just made like a staple. I was like, I'm going to do something. I'm going to stick with it. And it's going to be me. So like when people are like, oh, you play for the Chargers? Like, oh yeah, I watched the Chargers. Like, who are you? I'm like, oh, the guitar guy. And they're like, oh, you're Ekeler? Yeah. I was like, yeah. So they have that connection,
Austin, what makes me laugh about that is that people always ask you, whether it's media, fans, anything, what is that follow-up question that they ask you after your celebration? Do you play the guitar?
Yeah,
I've always found that as the funniest one. Does that kind of get to you, or are you kind of like whatever's about it?
Oh man, I mean, for me, it doesn't matter. Like, even if I did play the guitar, like they might think that's cool or something like that. But I mean, it's not going to add any value. Maybe it will in certain circumstances, but I mean, for me, it's not. I don't play the guitar. I don't have any desire to try. I don't have enough time in the day to even try to learn the guitar. It's just not one of my passions.
Austin, since you're going into your 5th year, do you guys pay attention? Do you pay attention to the draft? Are you kind of eyes glued, or are you kind of like whatever's about it?
Yeah, I like to see the new teammates. Check them out a little bit. See who we got coming in, especially if we got a new running back. But all right, see the new competition. Let's see who the Chargers are trying to get in here to take my job. Let's go, because it is. I mean, it's a competitive business, right? Like even in my running back room, I'm like, you guys better be trying to compete for these reps, because I know I'm going to come in here. I'm going to show these Chargers why they have me on this team. And you guys better be doing the same thing. You're coming for my job, and I understand that. I want you to come for my job because I want that competitiveness in my room, right? So I invite them, like, let's go, man. Like, because if we're all competing at that level, if we're all trying to be the best, then it just makes our room and it makes each other better, right? It's just that competitive just grind. And it's like, ooh, like JJ's doing really good. Like, I got to make sure I'm on my stuff. And if I'm doing well, they're like, dang, I gotta pick it up, you know? So it's contagious. And then it spreads outside the room too.
Look at that, Gilbert. The Austin's bringing the energy here. I'm getting more and more excited for this.
I'm kind of worried about Joshua Kelly. What did you tell him a year ago? Did you give him that stern talk as well?
Bro, I give everyone that talk. Everyone that comes in, man. I'm just like, look, because that's how it was for me. For me, I was sixth string, man. Oh, I had to take some jobs now. Like, that's how I had to make it. You know, it's no hard feelings. It's literally just straight business. Like, I'm trying to do my best to show that I can have value to this team. And like, that's what it is. Until we make the 53-man roster and we're all on the same team, we're still competing then, but it's a little different. It's a little different. Now you're not coming from a job. Now you're just trying to play for your reps, for your opportunities, and try to make plays when you get called upon. But it's like, yeah, all the guys that come in, I'm telling Josh too, come in, bro. He has to. You have to. If you're trying to live in this life and stay in this world and show value and have a long career, then you have to continue to compete. You have to continue to show up. You continue to take people's jobs or establish why you're there, because it's our coach's jobs and our GM's jobs to find people that are better than you to replace you. It's your job as an individual to show why you shouldn't be replaced.
Austin, when you made the initial 53-man roster, you know, there's times between that first week where you can get cut. Were you still nervous? Were you still going into until you finally made it to that week one? I mean, I know obviously you were still nervous going in through the whole season and everything, but in that initial first week, were you a little bit nervous?
I don't think I was nervous. It's because I put so much pressure on myself, you know. There's definitely like the anticipation, like, hey, what is the decision going to make, right? That coaches are going to make the GM. But it's like, I put so much pressure and I did as much as I physically and mentally could do that I wasn't nervous. I was like, whatever happens, I'm okay with, because look, I gave everything I can. So if I don't make this team, I'll probably make somewhere else. If I don't make any of these teams, it's like, that's because my genetics and my physical makeup is not allowing me to play at this level. Because I literally did everything I could. I dropped out of school. I practiced and just went pro day and did all the mental stuff, studied as much as I could. I put everything aside, and football was my highest priority. And then that's how I got into the league, and that's how I established myself, and then I've continued to grow off of that.
No, and you earned that contract in last season when the Chargers, obviously you're a star player for them, and they rewarded you with a nice contract. But talk a little bit about last season, and this is the first time that you actually had to miss a lengthy time with a hamstring injury. Were you close to 100% when you came back, or can you take us a little bit back through the injury and how tough that was?
Yeah, man, man, before the injury, man, I feel like I was rolling, man. I was like, I had like 150 yards a game for the first like 3 games, bro. I was rolling. I was like, let's go, man. I'm finally getting the whole spotlight, passes, running, everything. You know, the goal line situation is a different story. They took me out every time we got inside the 10. But just going into that, and then I got injured, right? And I come back, and it's like the injury that I had, I was out for 2 months, right? 8 weeks of not running and just hamstring recovery stuff and a bunch of upper body and ab workouts, right? So, but regardless, I'm not running for 8 weeks straight during the NFL season. And then I come back. I come back not because I'm back in shape, but because my hamstring can go full speed now. And at that time, my full speed had diminished and my condition had diminished so much. I was not 100. I was 100% at that time, but my 100% at the beginning of the season, when I came back from injury, was a lot different, right? Like my preparation coming into the beginning of the season had me at my peak of just physical, fitness. And then I came back and I was probably like 80% of what that was at the beginning of the season. And so it definitely, I see myself, like when I watch my play, it's just, I look like a different guy. Like I remember a run against the Raiders where I broke out to the side and I'm trying to run as fast as I can. There's no one in front of me. And I just get hopped down from the corner or from the safety across the field. It's just like, I felt so slow, like just because I just lost so much strength from not being able to like squat, run, and do all the practices and then just maintain my lower body.
Hey, Austin, I think 2019, that was such a great year for you. I think you had a thousand, I think it was like almost actually 1,000 yards receiving, and then almost, with 100 catches. I forget in Jacksonville, you came close to getting the 100 catches.
Right.
But it was such a big year for you in 2019 that, the injuries last year kind of, set you back a little bit. Do you feel like you have to prove yourself all over again and show that you're one of the best running backs in the NFL? That's something you kind of go into 2021?
That's just something that we all go through as athletes. Like whether or not we say we have to prove ourselves, like some people see it different. Like it's not even a prove. It's like almost like you come in and you have to play at the level that you know you can play at. And when you do that, then you're basically at the same time proving yourself, right? I hate to say like I have to come in and prove myself. Like that's what I have to do to the team's aspect. But for me, individuals, like I have to come in and play at the level that I know I can play at. And that for, I guess, outsiders is proving, that I belong. And so for me, it's like I'm really competing with myself. And then when I compete with myself, that is in turn showing, okay, my value to this team. Right. And so like, it's like when we go as a team, look at it as a team, like as a team, we can't worry about anyone. Look at like, oh, the Chiefs, we got to beat the Chiefs. No, we have to play well ourselves. And if we play well, then we can beat the Chiefs. Not we're worried about beating the Chiefs. We're worried about ourselves playing well. And then it comes down to the individual level where I'm worried about myself playing well. And that will in turn make me a better player, make me a better teammate, and help this team win games. And so like, I like to look at it internally, right? Everything's internal. Like I'm not proving myself to anybody. I'm proving myself to myself, which hopefully will reflect in other people's minds as, oh yeah, he can still play at a high level.
Austin, we spoke to Tom Telesco today. I mean, but obviously before the draft and everything, he said that you guys, I have a little insight for you. You ready for this?
What you got?
He said you guys will not be drafting a quarterback in the first round. Are you okay with that?
Hey, here's the thing, man. We got a quarterback. We got a quarterback, but if we drafted one because we want some competition or they like some guy, so bring it on, man. Let's go. That's what this thing's about, bro. I don't care who we draft. Bring him in. Bring in all the best players you think you got, because that's great. That's great. We need that atmosphere, right? How are we going to get better? Well, it's competing with ourselves and putting ourselves in situations where your pressure's on. You got to go out and perform, because when you get out there on Sunday, that's what it is. It's pressure's on, go perform. And we need to find the guys that can do that. So regardless, if we bring a quarterback, like Herbert's a great quarterback. Man, rookie of the year last year. It was probably the best rookie season any quarterback's ever had, right? And so he's got to do it again, though, right? So how is he going to do that? He's got to compete. He's got to go out there and compete. It's internally. It's with himself. He knows he can do it. Now he's showing himself. Now go out there and let's bump the bar up even more. Beat that guy that you were last year.
Gilbert, there's two guys with energy here, and there's one guy that seems like he's asleep. Need you to wake up, Gilbert. There's a lot of energy.
Come on, Gilbert. Let's go.
Come on.
All right. I'm gonna ask you a tough question, Austin. You got a new head coach and Brandon Staley. You got a new lineman as well, Corey Linsley. You got Ode Abushi. You got Matt Filer. You really revamped this offense, and the defense has Joey Bosa still, and Derwin James comes back. Are you guys going to go for it? Are you going to beat the Chiefs finally in the division? What's going to happen in 2021?
Hey, man, I can't tell you what's going to happen, bro. We got a lot of work we got to put in, man. Shoot, we got to learn each other's names first before we even think about getting on the field, right? Like, we just got a whole new face of the Chargers, right? And so we got to build the chemistry with the team. I'm not even worried about games right now. I don't even know any of our pass plays, right? We got a new offensive coordinator. And so it's like we got to learn each other. We got to learn our identity, what our message is. And so we can put something on the field that's going to be, competitive, especially in our division with the Chiefs and the Raiders and the Broncos, right? Like we got a tough division, mainly the Chiefs that have been rolling with Mahomes in the past few years. But we just got to make sure we can put something competitive on the field. And that starts with us. Like I said, it's all internal, man. I'm not even worried about other people. I'm worried about, do we know each other? Do we have a mission? Are we working together? And are we actually just building off of that mission that we're saying we're going to, or are we just saying it? And so that's what I think is for us. I think that's why we made changes, because we needed to switch the chemistry up, right? We were a good team. It's like, oh, same old Chargers. What does that mean? Well, the same old Chargers to me now that I've been here for a few years is like, oh, we come out hot, we're winning games. Now all of a sudden we lose in the fourth quarter. And then we go, 7-9 on the season, right? Like, oh, we lost so many close games. Like, same old Chargers. Like that's BS now, right? Like we have a whole new coaching staff, whole new vibe, whole new energy around the Chargers. Like we have a new stadium. So I need fans to be coming in and really just bringing the energy, because we have an opportunity to set the culture in the stadium that we've not had before, because we have never had any fans in SoFi Stadium. So if we come in, I'm talking fans here. If fans come in talking like, oh, let's just see what happens. Let's see if it's the same old Chargers. Then guess what? You're going to have the same culture that you've had in the past. But if you come in with high energy, expecting things like, hey, let me not just come in and see what happens. Let me come in, cheer as loud as I can, and try to help this team win. then guess what? You're going to be a part of the culture that we're trying to make, because if you're doing that, you're going to give all of us players another reason to go out there and want to win games. And that's to get into the community, and that's to help you guys get into us and just create this winning culture around LA, right? Because regardless if we're winning or losing, it doesn't take any skill or take any talent to go out there and cheer loud and want your team to win. So if you're coming to the stadium, make sure you're freaking high energy. Make sure you're cheering for us. Let's go. Because look, we need that. We're in LA. Let's make this a great culture, and let's do it.
Man, love the passion.
I'm getting hyped right here. Austin, the things that we've heard about Brandon Staley is that he's a player's coach, likable guy, everything. Jalen Ramsey spoke incredibly about him. What are some of your first impressions of Brandon?
See, it's different. It's different because when I think of players coach, like Coach Lynn was a players coach for sure, but they have different just ways of what they mean by that. Like Coach Staley's big on relationships. Like he wants to get to know me, like get to know me as a person, right? He gets to know everybody. He only has a limited amount of time, but it matters to him. So he takes some time out of that and just like shares words of wisdom with us, and wants to get to know. I love that, because if I'm going to respect what you're saying in your message, I'm going to respect it a lot more if I understand you and you understand me, like as far as like what's beyond football, right? Because this is life. Life's much bigger than football. Football is this big, and we're humans, right? So we all have some type of similar like connectivity between each other socially. It's not only football, right? When I get in the facility, it's just because it's a Charger facility doesn't mean I'm only a football player. I'm still a human. And I love how he takes that to the next level. He's just connecting with us. He called me literally when, like a few days after he was hired, just to say what's up, see how it's going, talk to me about just his principles, talk to me about what I'm thinking, just about life. Now, we didn't even talk about football. And so that was really special for me to hear. And I just, that fires me up, man. Cause like, this guy freaking cares about people. Like, that's what it's about, man. It's about people, right? And that, like, to work as a team, like, you don't have to have the best players, man. But if you have the great relationships and you care about each other, like, people work so much harder and so much better together. Right? You don't have to be the most talented team, right? Not the most talented team doesn't win every time, right? All you have to do is have Tom Brady on your team, and then you win every time. But no, just play it. But no, just for me. And then it creates a deeper passion that we have for the game and just we have for each other. Like the chemistry is just so big, it becomes like, there's only one team that wins the Super Bowl every year, right? So like odds are we're not going to win, but that to me, that doesn't even matter. To me, what matters is, hey, am I producing? Am I having a good time with this team? Are we being productive? And are we winning football games, or at least trying to work towards something that we're saying we're trying to work towards? And so it's that progression, and it's that building in the community. It's just the atmosphere that I want to see develop. And Brandon Staley, I think, is going to be a great coach to have, especially out here in LA, because he's all about it.
Brandon, my bad. Austin, just real quick, you've done a lot with your foundation. Can you just talk about some of the stuff that you have coming up with them? I know you've said community a lot of times right now that we've talked to you on the podcast. You're all about that. Can you just talk a little bit more about your foundation and what you guys have planned?
Yeah, absolutely. It's just when I talk to my community, like the 4 things I always talk about is mental health, physical health, social life, and motivations. And so if I talk about those, I also want to provide things that help you develop skills in these areas. And so that's what the Austin Ekeler Foundation is trying to do, is trying to help provide resources in just areas that are maybe lacking resources, so that people can just experience more. Because the more you experience, the more you learn about yourself, the more you know if you like something or don't like something, and then you can change your path, or at least learn about yourself, right? Which is really important. And so that's what the Austin Ekeler Foundation is trying to do. So far, I've built a gym that's actually being built right now for a school in Santa Barbara, where they have like 2,200 students. Very nice area, but as far as like the equipment, the funding is very low because everything has to be donated there. And so they have like 12 sports at the school, and they have like 1.5 gyms. And so they were just deprived. They don't have enough gyms. Like they don't have enough gym time. So people can't work out all the time. And so I was like, no, we gotta get that fixed. And so boom, put a gym in there. It's just like, for me, the gym was such a pivotal part of my just growing up, just because that's where I learned hard work. That's where I learned mental discipline. It became part of my lifestyle, which helped me be a better athlete. And then I just learned things that are transferable skills into the future. And so that's what I'm trying to help, just provide opportunities for people to go and take advantage. And that's why I like to provide an entire resource, because it's not saying, oh, go do this and learn these skills. It's like, go use this, and maybe it'll affect your life in some type of way. Maybe it won't, but that's for you at least to have the option to go do that.
Austin, honestly, we appreciate the time. Gilbert, you got anything else for our energy man here?
No, I just love what you're doing in the community, Austin. You're doing big things, and as you know, us being beat reporters covering the Chargers, we really appreciate how outgoing you are and how you kind of embrace the media. So we really thank you for that.
Heck yeah. I'll say one thing on this, like media, like you guys are a tool if we use you as a tool, right? And you guys use us as like your product, right? We use us for a story, we use you to get our story out. So like that's why I respect media. Like people that don't like media is probably because they got something controversial to say, or they had a bad experience with media. And so I appreciate you guys for always treating me well, and it's reciprocated.
We appreciate it, Austin. Ladies and gentlemen, he rocks the guitar when he's at SoFi Stadium in the end zone. He does one-arm pull-ups on social media, and he's trying to make the community a better place. Chargers running back, Austin Ekeler. Austin, thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.